Hey there, Knicks fans. How you doing? It's your boy, Jonathan Macri, with you for another episode of the Knicks Film School Podcast. Very, 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 very excited for this one for two reasons. The first reason, my guest today, actually, let me take a step back. It's the same reason. Here's what I was going to say. My guest today isn't really a guest. It's Kris Pursiainen, my protege, former intern, current CEO, executive vice president, William Worldwide West of Knicks Film School. So Kris,
that's the coolest job title I've ever had.
That's what you are, man. That's literally what you are.
You
lurk in the shadows.
Is it? I would say like Jeremy does the Strickland connecting more, but we can say I pull the strings. I don't know if you could see the strings coming up from my hoodie. But anyway, I was gonna say I like the hoodie, and thank you
for having me on. Oh yeah, well, I mean, but again, you're not a guest, which leads me to the second thing that I'm excited about, which is that oftentimes, spoiler alert, when I do a podcast, I have to get in a certain mindset, and I have to make sure I'm professional, and I have to treat the guest with a certain modicum of respect. I don't have to worry about any of that shit with you because it's you. So I can just relax. And we're going to sit here and we're going to answer. I'm going to answer some questions that you got these questions today.
I have procured the aforementioned questions.
So this is a mailbag episode, in case you haven't figured that out yet. Usual ground rules. Kris got the questions from Twitter. I have seen two of the questions, and I will on honor code. I will let you know when it is one of the two questions that I have seen, which I think are going to be asked on the episode, but I'm not 100% sure. So, anything?
That's the third rule. That's the third rule, is that you haven't seen the full list of questions.
That is the third rule. Yes. That is the third rule. I'm just looking. I'm like, is this my father-in-law pulling up? No, that's my name.
Quick neighborhood scouting.
Okay. Well, let's answer some questions because I want to get the taste of the last two games out of my mouth, and I can think of no better way to do that than answering questions. So let's
questions about the New York Knicks.
Knickerbockers.
Yeah. The Knickerbockers. Would it make more sense? This first question comes from ASAP Ferd. Would it make more sense to start Burks at the 1 for a lineup of Burks, Bullock, RJ, Randall, and Noel, and then have the bench 5 be Rose, IQ, Frank or Knox, Obi, Taj, a mix of those guys? He says he thinks that Quickly and Obi would benefit more from being paired with Rose than with AB. What are your thoughts?
Hold on, I'm actually writing down. So he wants to start Burks. So he basically wants to shoot Elfrid Payton. Let's keep count on how many questions.
I tried to limit it because
but I just want to see how many imply that we are firing Elfrid Payton into the sun. So this one implies that we are firing Elfrid Payton into the sun, and that we're basically swapping Burks for Elf in the starting lineup, and we are putting in Knox in place of Burks.
Yeah, or Frank or both or whatever.
Okay. Here's what I like about it. I like about it that because I feel like I've been noticing this, and I don't know what your thoughts on this are, but I feel like now with Rose and Burks in the second 5, I feel like Quickly is not getting as many opportunities to run the offense as maybe he was a little bit earlier in the season. Have you noticed that?
He's just getting less minutes in general, which everyone's noticed.
He has.
It's in those minutes that he's out there and he has a possession or two. He shows off a nice dribble move or something. But you're right. Recently, it's been less, I feel like, designed creation.
And this is one of those things where I think a lot of the time, the narrative of development versus winning games is a false narrative. I think this is one of those things where it's legit. I think giving Quickly more opportunities to run the offense solo would benefit him in the long run, but it would not benefit the team because he misses a lot of reads. Not a lot of reads. He misses reads. He misses more reads than I think like Burks or Rose would. So this would give him a little bit more playmaking. It would give him another weapon, or a weapon in Knox. I don't know if Knox is any better or worse than Burks in the role that he would be in here. The reason I don't think this would happen, one, if he benches Elf, it's going to be for Rose. I think we all think that. And if he does bench Elf, I have to think that it would be, I can't imagine he'd bury him unless they come up with a fake injury, but I can't imagine he'd bury him. I think he would go to the second unit and maybe his minutes will be drastically limited. So that's the first reason it wouldn't happen. But also, I think Tibbs likes to have his traditional, quote unquote point guard out there.
Yeah.
And Burks.
It's why he tried DSJ. It's why
that's why DSJ was always going to get a chance at the starting point guard, whereas Frank was always, they always had Frank pegged as a wing. And it's been more break-even case of emergency, him at point guard. I like the idea. Here's the only issue is, like, in theory, you're like, well, all the playmaking goes through Randall anyway, and then the secondary playmaker is RJ, so why do you need a point guard? I get that. I've said that. I think in reality, what winds up happening is what essentially we're seeing, which is that Randall is taking on the brunt of the playmaking to his detriment. He's tiring out. And I think the only way that changes is if Rose goes into the starting lineup. I don't think that would change if Burks went into the starting lineup. I think Rose needs to go into the starting lineup for that to change. And then you have quickly Burks, again, our perfect world, quickly Burks, Knox, Obi, Taj, or Frank, Obi, Taj, or Frank, Knox, Taj, whatever. I think that could work. I think that would be ideal.
Yeah, no, just I thought I'd start off with a rotation question.
That's good. It gets the wheels.
It's a little State of the Union. It's a little, what do you think about each guy? Or it's
like when you walk into the classroom and the teacher has a little small exercise for you to get the mind work.
The do now.
Is that what we call it? A think and answer.
Listen,
because you have to think.
It's not a misnomer.
No, it's not a misnomer.
It's a nomer.
That's the next question, please.
Vin sent in a question. He says that we know the Knicks need a third piece. We know it has to be a half-court facilitator and a potential closer. Who is that guy? His only rules, it can't be a max type player, and the player wouldn't mean championship, but advancing to the second round is the floor. So I guess it's
advancing to the second round is the floor.
I guess it's replace floor with goal, and I think maybe that's realistic in terms of just a stepping stone guy.
So because this question, even with the parameters, it's still a little vague, I'm going to set an additional parameter, which is that the question I'm interpreting it to ask, who's the realistic guy we could get that will make us a possible second round team next season
from B to C. Like if this was going, if this year was getting from A to B. Yeah.
And I think there are only, no, I think there are three realistic names, semi-realistic names. Kawhi Leonard's not one of them because in case anybody missed it.
Well, he's a max.
But just so everybody knows, Sam Amick and was it Hollinger reported yesterday that, scuttlebutt around the league is he's not going anywhere. But then again, we heard the same thing about Kevin Durant to the Knicks, so who knows? But let's leave Kawhi out of this. The three names that come to mind are Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry, and DeMar DeRozan. I think if you put any of those three guys on the Knicks next year, factoring in reasonable internal improvement from Randall, RJ, quickly, yes, Obi Toppin.
Can I throw a name out?
In addition to the three that I said? Who?
Yes, Malcolm Brogdon.
I don't know if Malcolm Brogdon makes them a second round team. I think
Brogdon off of Randall, you give up picks for. To let Brogdon play off of what Randall's doing, you give up the Mavs pick. You give something up.
Yeah, but this gets into the Lonzo Ball discussion, and we don't need to rehash that. But I'll give up picks for someone that's going to make a material difference in the ceiling of my team. And I don't like giving up picks for a guy, for the right to pay a guy the contract that he's worth, unless that guy's a max player. So let me say that one more time. You give up all the picks in the world for a max player, even if the max player is only worth the max, because max players are max players for a reason. A guy like Malcolm Brogdon or a guy like Fred VanVleet or a guy like, I'm trying to think of another name. Those are the two that come to mind. Or yeah, those are the two obvious ones. Like those guys are fairly paid. Those guys make a little over $20 million a year. That's what they're worth. They're worth
Dinwiddie on his next deal, maybe. Well, he could end up being a steal.
Who's that?
The injury. Dinwiddie. I know Brogdon's above his weight class, but
yeah, I mean, but that's another name that you throw out there, Spencer Dinwiddie, that I wouldn't mind getting. I don't think he actually, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, I'll add Dinwiddie to this is how high, for as frustrated as he makes all of us, this is how highly I think of Tom Thibodeau. I think if you looking at the East.
Oh yeah.
And looking at Boston and the fact that, like, where are they going to find a point guard next year, especially since they can't offload Kemba Walker and he's not getting any younger. No, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and Philly aren't going anywhere. So then it's Miami. So basically what you're talking about is, like, is there a world where you could beat the Heat in the right series on the right day, the Bucks in the right series on the right day? Like, I guess maybe really when you put it like that, though, this is almost getting into, like, what do I think of the Heat next year? It's Paul is the only really obvious answer. If Paul opted out, and they signed Paul, and I'm not saying it would be a smart move for them to give Paul 3 years and I don't know what it would cost, $70 million to get him to come here. He might want more than that. He might want 3 for 90. Who knows? But I think if you get this year's version of Paul, and you like get somebody who could help you in the draft, or you like make another smart signing or two, like, then you could fuck around with the Heat and maybe one of those other teams, and like you give one of those teams a run for their money on the right, like, 1 time out of 10.
More than that, if you have Paul, Barrett, and Randall, the Heat, you know how I feel about Hero. I'm not even talking about it.
To me, this isn't a Hero discussion. It's a.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
It's a Bam Spolestra, Jimmy Butler. Like,
if we have Mitch another year, Kenny Payne, Chris Paul, I think we'd be fine.
So Paul is in his own tier, and then I'll throw out Lowry, Dinwiddie, DeMar DeRozan, and that's the list. I'm not putting Brogdon there.
You know, DeRozan gets overhated, but I don't think he's a great fit with Barrett and Randall. I don't think that's a move that you make if you're the Knicks. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people might think. I think his mid-range scoring ability does make up for the lack of three-point scoring to an extent. It's Barrett and Randall. You're hoping that Barrett and Randall keep shooting at the rate that they're shooting at from deep. I feel like you're not at the point where you can be confident enough to add a DeRozan.
I think they should operate as if RJ Barrett and Julius Randles are essentially floor spacers moving forward, in the sense that, like, not like movement like Wayne Ellington, JJ Redick floor spacers, but just a guy who at defense isn't going to be able to ignore. That's enough. That's what you need. A guy who's going to be able to hit 38, 39% roughly of his wide open threes. And I, like, at this point, I'm confident moving forward. So and the whole thing is, like, just get a guy who you can give the offense to. Like I've said this on the post game the other night, give the offense to 5 minutes at a time and not feel like you're about to go into the tank. And DeRozan does that. So that's why, for the right money and the right years, I do it.
There's an argument.
Argument. I'm not sure if it's a good argument, but I just don't know about
the fit compared to so many other options is the thing.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. Next up is from, Z at ZMP323, but the name is Rookie of the Year IQ, which I enjoy. How do you think expectations will adjust going into next season? What types of moves do you think the front office will make, whether draft, trade, free agency, to help meet those new expectations, I suppose, based off of the play this year?
That's Well, the obvious answer is that the expectations will be, let me answer this in two ways. Based on how they did this year, on how they are doing this year. And I'm not even sure it matters how much what they do over the rest of the season. I think they have righted the ship to the point where the Knicks are no longer a laughingstock organization. And I think there is a general expectation that if Leon Rose is good at his job, and this is step one, he has already accomplished step that I've argued is the toughest step of the job to get them out of the shitter. Then if he continues to be good at his job, he will be able to do something next season to make them a playoff team, not a play-in team, a playoff team. That means top 6 seed. I think that will be the expectation, like starting at the end of this, like starting now, basically. Maybe it changes a little bit between now and the end of the season, depending on what happens in the playoffs or whatever. But I think that is the expectation now. Now, that being said, he needs to get certain things done in the summer and the draft before next year to have that be, to maintain that as the expectation. And I think that's where it gets tough. And I don't know how to answer that part of the question because I don't know what they're going to do. But if you're asking me if they have the most reasonable offseason that like I personally expect them to have, which is getting one guy, getting a name, whether that name is Lonzo Ball or Kyle Lowry or Chris Paul or Spencer Dinwiddie or whoever the fuck, like getting a guy who could plug in as your point guard and like that, and probably an upgrade of some kind at the 2, or at least someone who could do a little bit more, whether it's DeRozan, I don't know if you consider Kelly Oubre an upgrade over Reggie.
No,
I'm not sure.
No, you don't.
You
definitely don't. No,
you probably don't.
You do not.
Different players.
2 ends of the court. You have to play basketball on both of them.
And Reggie Bullock
player, yes, is better at both of those sides in terms of playing basketball on them than Kelly Oubre.
I think there's listen, I was just throwing the name out there. My point is, I think that
don't come at Reggie Bullock. You know how I feel about Reggie Bullock. You know how I feel about Reggie Bullock.
I think they will make one significant upgrade at a position.
Evan Fournier, by the way, is a guy who can do some stuff with the ball.
I'm not a fan.
Oh, me.
Let's see how he does. Let's see how he does when the chips are on the line.
Yeah.
And I think they'll make another upgrade. And where does that get them? We'll see. But I think as of now, yeah, absolutely, the expectations have been raised. Good question. That was good.
Next up from Matt H. We're gonna talk about point guards, John.
Oh, good.
Take that back.
Not good.
Start, bench, cut based on their Knick tenures.
Start. I'm writing this down. Bench, cut. Okay.
2014, Raymond Felton.
2014, Raymond Felton. Okay.
Jose Calderon.
He was only here for 1 year. He was here for 13, 14, 15.
And Alfred Payton. This is the question.
Hold on. Raymond Felton, you're going to jam me up now because I'm just looking this
up. In the 2013-2014 season, 9. Oh, no. I think he meant. Oh, no. He was on Dallas.
Yeah, he was here for 2013-14. It is amazing.
2013-14.
It is amazing how much. Yeah, I've phased out 2013-14 from my memory because he started 65 games that year. Gun to my head. If you
5.5 assists.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at his. 5.5 assists, not 10
almost
points.
10 points.
Averaged a scintillating 39% from the field, including 31% from deep. Now it's starting to come back to me. Okay. It's all coming back to me now. I would start Calderon because I just think that 14-15, it just was a poorly composed team and it was a mess. But I think Calderon still had a little bit left in the tank. I would start him. I would bench Felton and I would cut Payton. I think, I think I mentioned it No, did I mention it in the live stream? Well, yeah, I think I mentioned it in the live stream. I'm not sure like who's signing up for Peyton next year. Are we sure that he's still an NBA player? Are we positive of that? A rotation player, an NBA rotation.
I think you are making the assumption that I used to make and then stopped making, which is that like NBA front offices are all super on their games. Like someone's gonna be like, shit, we need a vet backup. Veteran minimum Elfrid Payton, but he was making $5 million and $8 million the year before that. That's a steal. And he wasn't great, but he was with Tibbs and Randall had the ball a lot. So, he can pass and someone will give him a veteran minimum. It's going to be Danny Ainge, hopefully, to come off the bench.
You say this and like, I don't know. It doesn't,
he keeps coming back, John. Quick. Yeah. And remember he was in Phoenix, I believe, and there was all this talk about no. He was in Orlando and there's all this talk about him getting moved, maybe a first rounder, and then he gets moved for like a second round pick, like still like on the rookie deal, I think.
You know who's not in the NBA this year, by the way? Emmanuel Mudiay.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm just throwing it out there. Like Emmanuel Mudiay was a higher pedigree prospect. I would actually argue that he showed more in Utah last season than Elfrid Payton has shown in New York this season. He certainly played a significant-ish role on a winning team. He's not in the league this year. I'm just throwing it out there. All right. Now let's move on. No more Elfrid Payton bashing or supporting or any Elfrid Payton talk at all.
I see what you're saying, though. Next question comes across the pond from Cal Hutchings. What is more likely this draft? Consolidate to move up or trade for a star or better player to add to the roster? Big love to you both with the orange and blue hearts. Thank you, Cal.
Thank you very much, Cal.
We love Cal.
What's more likely? I'm going to answer this question with the assumption that the Knicks pick lands 14, 13, something in that range. And the Mavs pick is like 20 or 21. If the Bulls hadn't made the Vooch trade, I think I might have said it's more likely that they trade for a star. I think that single-handedly might change my answer on this because the Bulls aren't trading Zach LaVine now. If the Wizards didn't trade Bradley Beal at this trade deadline, like why in God's name would they trade him this summer? They're just gonna. I don't know what they're doing, but they're apparently not trading him. You look around the league, I don't see anybody else that's an obvious candidate to get traded for a package of first round picks in this draft. Unless am I missing someone that is like realistically going to become available?
The Lonzo sign and trade.
So Lonzo's not a star, first of all.
But he said / better player to add to the roster.
I think it's more like I think it is more likely that they package the picks. I think it's more likely they package the picks to move up rather than package the picks to get Lonzo Ball. If they traded 2 fucking first round picks for Lonzo fucking Ball, I would lose my shit. For the right to pay Lonzo Ball, whatever the fuck, $18-20 million a year. No, just let him walk. He's not that important. We listed 4 other fucking options of guys 15 minutes ago who could, if push came to shove, could be the starting point guard for this team next year. Granted, Chris Paul's probably not going to be available, but sign TJ McConnell. I mean, I don't know if that's a name that's going to come up later in the mailbag, but sign TJ McConnell for 3 years and $20 million before you give that, up picks and all that money to Lonzo Ball. And then, at least you can make do for a year and then take another bite at the apple next summer or something. That question got me fired up.
Really? TJ McConnell?
Hold on. Read the next question while I look up TJ McConnell's.
The next question is going to make you more angry. I'm going to give you a second.
Fantastic. TJ McConnell, you know what his effective field goal percentage is this year?
55.4.
57. 57. And you know why TJ McConnell has the reputation that he has is like, hey, he's a nice little backup, because there's one thing that he doesn't do, and that's shoot threes. Well, guess what? I think if there's a coach in the league who could figure out what to do with a guy like TJ fucking McConnell, it's Tom Thibodeau, because guess what? The thing that's holding Elfrid Payton back from helping us become a decent team isn't his inability to shoot threes. That doesn't help, but that's not the major thing. It's that he sucks in every other.
No, you're right.
So, I'm just throwing out a name. Let's move on to the question that is apparently going to make me even madder.
Well, it's from Schwinn.
Oh, great.
Is there a price you wouldn't pay for Caris LeVert? And if we did trade for him, how many three-peats in a row do you think we could put together?
What did the Celtics won? What's the Celtics record? Did they win 8 in a row? I know Bill Russell has 11 rings. I forget how many in a row. Is it 7 in a row, 8 in a row? I think LeVert on the Knicks.
8.
I think it challenges that record. Should I actually answer this question seriously? What would I give up for Caris LeVert? Does Caris LeVert make sense for this team?
I'd give up. I'll say what I'd give up for Caris LeVert, and that's how we can go about this. They can have Kevin Knox, and they can have the Detroit pick. They can have Kevin Knox and the Detroit pick, and we'll take Caris LeVert. And if not, they can hang up. That's not a joke.
I think on this I don't think that's obviously they wouldn't do that. So basically the question is, would you give up one of the Dallas picks for Caris LeVert?
No. Oh, no shot. No. Dude's been 24 for 8 years now. Let's not do this. No.
He's 26.
No.
He signed for 2 more years for $37 million. He has $37 million. He makes $19 million in 2 years.
He doesn't.
I don't know how Caris LeVert appreciably makes. I shouldn't say that. He would obviously help the Knicks. Let me just say that Caris LeVert would absolutely help the Knicks. I don't know that. Again, we're talking about guys who help versus guys who raise their ceiling.
I'd much rather Dinwiddie.
Yeah, Caris LeVert. Oh, so would I. Caris LeVert does not raise the Knicks.
Bring me Bitcoin, man. Over that guy.
I'll go one step. Will I give up more than that? I still might. I would still think about giving up the 23 Dallas pick for LeVert. I would think about it.
Sicko. Get Brunson before you do that.
Oh, I mean, I would sign for. I would much rather have Brunson over LeVert. That's easy. Yeah.
So pay up to do it. That's what I would say.
All right. When they hire me as the GM, when Scott Perry leaves for greener pastures, I'll duly noted.
Macri redemption arc. You ready? Rowan NBA asks, well, I asked this question a few months ago, and Macri shamefully listed RJ 5th.
Yeah.
You're getting another chance.
I knew this was coming.
Knowing what we know now, after a few months have passed, re-rank the Knicks' top 5 assets, picks, or players in terms of value. I'd like to amend the question to do it in a fashion that does not leave me literally speechless. If you could run the tape, I just sat and I stared into the distance.
I remember. That was, I gotta say,
I couldn't believe my ears.
Of all the takes that I have had over the years, other than I think I once compared Frank Ntilikina to Scottie Pippen in a tweet. That was fun. I don't know if he's going to reach quite that ceiling. I think that might be my worst take. But again, in fairness, when I said that, RJ was coming off a season where he shot. I did a newsletter before the year. He was. If you look at how many shots he put up versus his percentage, there was a very small percentage of guys who had gone from that to really good players.
Right, but those guys are not basketball psychopaths. So you just ignore
it. And that's where I was mistaken. But here's the thing. I wasn't just going on when I answered that question. In fairness, I was not just going on last year as evidence. I was going on last year plus the first, whatever it was, 6 or 7 games of the season when it looked like RJ Barrett might never hit a 3-pointer again. And since then, he's hitting 42.5. Literally think since that mailbag episode, he's hitting 42.5% from three. Because I that was the stat that I pulled for yesterday's newsletter. Anyway, okay. RJ 1, Randall 2.
Yash is going to be happy too with RJ's new spot.
This is where it gets tricky. Just for the ease of this question, I'm not considering like 2025 and 2026 and
no.
first rounders. Let's just consider this year's first and next year's first in this
IQ. Goes in there somewhere.
If I'm ranking it right now and the information I have right now, says that the Knicks are the 8th seed. They would probably be picked. They would probably be favored to, picked to lose in a play-in game versus Boston. And then they would face the winner of Chicago, Indiana. And they would probably be picked.
They'd win.
I think they'd be picked to lose that. So I'm just saying, if I think the line would be they would be getting points. You don't think they would be getting points against this Chicago team or this Indiana team?
Chicago,
even in MSG. We're answering a completely different question now, but
Levine and Vucevic can't guard a traffic cone. Those guys don't.
I think they'd be getting. I think they'd be getting like a 1.5 or 2 points at MSG.
All right.
Hold on. My wife just texted me. Where did you put my water cup?
Well, where'd you put it?
On her bedside table. Fully functional husband right here. Okay, let's just whatever. I'm going into this question assuming that they are going to have not non-zero lottery odds to move up into the top 4. Maybe it's 5%, maybe it's 10%, maybe it's 15%. Let's call it 10%. So what do I value more? A 10% shot at the top 4 pick, but in all likelihood, probably like the 12th or the 13th pick, or Emmanuel Quickly. What do I value more? Or do I value maybe the 15th?
What are you hoping that pick turns into?
Someone good.
Someone as good as Emmanuel Quickly?
That's the thing, is like
that would be how I view it. I'm hoping that pick turns into someone as good as Emmanuel Quickly.
Yeah, I think you're going to go with Quickly. You just answered the question. You know what? It's because here's the thing. For the chance that they draft someone who is it possible they draft someone who's a lot better than Quickly? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what are the odds? I'll go Quickly. Here's the thing though. I think if you ask other teams, what would you rather have? Emmanuel Quickly or the Knicks' own unprotected 2021 first round pick? Teams would take the pick.
And those are the same teams that let him fall to 25. Exactly.
You're right. I think so. Okay. So Quickly 3rd, our 21 pick 4th, and our 22 pick 5th.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who didn't make the list?
Oh.
He was number 2 last time.
Obi?
Yeah.
I was going to say Mitch, but I agree with having the picks.
I mean, Mitch would have given me something to think about if he hadn't injured the foot, but Obi.
Yeah. No, for sure. I just don't think you can call a team and say, hey, we'll give you Mitch if you give us your unprotected first round pick in the 21 draft, and that they would do it.
You know, I'm higher on Obi than I think some people. I would.
Oh, I'm still in on it. You.
I know you're not.
What you've done.
What have I done?
Is you've turned me from the Obi Toppin hater.
Stop it.
To a shill for the Knicks organization, defending Toppin at every bend and turn of the season.
Let's see what he can do. Let's see what he can do if you give him a chance.
I agree. I think Steve Jones, very smart watcher of basketball, just said in a thread this morning that he's just being miscast still, which I agree with. So
here's what I'm gonna do. I'll have a tie between Obi and the 22 pick for 5th. All right, let's move on.
All right, let me make sure. All right, let me get the next question up from Vivek, which is,
hey Vivek,
on a 0 to 100% scale.
Oh goodness.
how would you attribute and allocate the issues into why the Knicks are struggling late in games between coaching, fatigue, concentration, rotations, etc.?
I think it's like this is gonna sound. I don't know if the word is curt or trite, but I think like 90% of it is like they just don't have enough talent. Like they're lacking a perimeter creator. I don't know. Is that 85% of it? Is it 90% of it? Is it 95% of it? Am I supposed to be?
I think the word is terse.
Terse, sure. Great. I just don't know. Because if you're asking me to like judge their late game performances based on the roster that they have, then like what happened at the end of last night's game versus Boston, or what happened at the end of the Dallas game or the Miami game or the Brooklyn game, it's like, I don't know. It sucks in the moment because you're like, damn it, we could have had that. But looking back, I don't necessarily, there's none of those games other than the Minnesota game, which stands on its own. That was a complete shit show. All the other games are like, all right, it would have been great to win those. I would have loved to win those games. I don't know that we should have won any of those games. I don't know if an objective viewer who had no rooting interest would have watched those games and been like, oh, if the Knicks did X, Y, or Z. And again, this isn't to say that there aren't improvements that can be made. And to answer your question, Vivek, my personal highest percentage, I don't know what it would go, out of the choices you listed would be fatigue. I absolutely think Randall is whatever he is, tired, hurt, something. And I think he's forcing it, and I think he's not making the shots that he's taking. He hasn't hit a shot in 2 straight fourth quarters, except for a fast break basket that, you know, it was a fast break basket. So, I mean, I guess that's a little bit fatigue, a little bit like too ISO heavy. So that would be my answer. But again, it's like, I don't know. Is that a shock? And like, where's the far better option? Although I would have liked to see RJ get some more shots last night against Boston.
Yeah, no, RJ had a good game.
I would say
to say the least.
That's why he's number one on the
Speaking of, the next question comes from RJ Barrett Believe. I agree. With Leon Rose wanting to balance competing now with development, do you think he'll continue to target more seasoned multi-year guys in the draft rather than one and done high upside prospect or not projects, not prospects?
So this is one of the questions that I saw ahead of time. And who are the guys? So the non one and done guys this year, right, are Corey Kispert.
My guy,
Book Knight, Wagner. Although both of those guys are like, I mean, Book Knight's 20, Wagner's 19. So to me, like, I know they're not one and done, but they're like, I don't know. I don't put them anywhere near the same class as Kispert. Like Kispert's in his own. And then I think here's the guys I think you're asking about. I think you're asking about Davion Mitchell. I think you're asking about Corey Kispert. And I think, I don't know. Am I missing anybody? I guess Butler, right? Jared Butler.
Yeah, well, there's Butler and Mitchell are the two Baylor guys.
Yeah, I think you're asking about the two Baylor guys and who?
Ayo.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're gonna take Ayo, but I would say I don't think Leon Rose is going to factor that in one iota into what he does, because I think he has a good man drafting for him in Walt Perrin. And I say that I saw this question, one, because Nico texted me about it. And two, I wanted to do a little research for this. So just think back to like the last few years, right? Or last like half decade, roughly. So Kristaps Porzingis, right? We drafted him 4th. He was supposed to be a project. He was arguably their best player, at worst their second best player as a rookie. Came in, made an immediate impact. Mitchell Robinson, project, right? Immediate. I think you could again argue he was their most positively impactful player as a rookie. We didn't draft Mikal Bridges because ostensibly Kevin Knox had a higher upside. How's that working out? You go to non-Knicks picks. Brandon Clark fell all the way to wherever the hell he fell in the draft because there was this like reputation of, oh, well, he's older and like he's limited and like he is what he is as an NBA player. That dude's going to wind up as being at worst one of the 10 best players from that draft class.
21.
Huh?
21 is where he fell to.
20. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. What did I say? 19?
No, I think you left
he fell.
vague. You said somewhere, I think somewhere's 21, I believe, or 20.
21. Meanwhile, I think you have on the flip side, some guys that maybe go like, well, I don't know if they necessarily go higher than they should have, but like Chandler Hutchinson, Grayson Allen, Jerome Robinson, 3 guys from the 2018 draft. Those guys were all played, I think, Jerome Robinson plays 3 years. He got cut today. Speaking of guys that got cut today, Justin Jackson got cut today. He was drafted 15th. I remember one of the talking points for Justin Jackson was, he could help teams now. That dude never helped anybody do a blessed thing. The guy that went right before him, Bam Adebayo, was seen as more of a project. He was helping the Heat by the middle of his rookie year. Like Buddy Hield went before Jamal Murray because longer college career, surer thing, whatever. How's that working out? Devin Booker fell to 15. He averaged, was averaging 22 points or whatever by his second year. I know you're a big Booker fan, obviously. The point is like, I don't think that line of like, if you think someone's a good basketball player and you think they have it in them to be a good basketball player, and you don't think like, well, if this and then that, and maybe this happens and all of no, just draft the guy you think is going to be the good basketball player. If it, and I'm sorry, but I feel like this narrative of like, oh, well, he'll be good, but it's going to take several years. When's the last time that happened where a guy was drafted and it was like, oh, just wait several years down the road and he's going to emerge, like the 2 years away from being 2 years away. I mean, Siakam, but was anybody really saying about Pascal Siakam that like, oh yeah, give it 3-4 years, like he's going to
smile on my face is because of Alexei Pokusevsky, but
okay, but Poku went. Where did he get drafted? So you're saying he fell further than he should have?
Yeah, a little.
Okay, and great. What's Pokusevsky been doing this year
some fun stuff?
Wasserman tweeted out before. He's averaging, I don't know, 20 points a game over the last week or two or something like that. Like, again, it's a false narrative. If a guy can play, he's going to figure out how to play pretty soon, probably during his rookie year, at worst during his second year. So I think this is a silly narrative. I think they're just take the guy who you think is the best player. And if he's actually good, guess what? He's probably going to help you before too long. And if you take a guy because you're like, oh, we don't think the ceiling's that high, we're not sure about how great he really is, but he's a 3-year college player, whatever, he's going to be able to day one help us. Like when did that pan out for some team? I'm sorry, but I don't, other than Mikal. And guess what? Mikal took a little while. I'm not saying he was bad as a rookie, but even that, it's like he didn't fall that far because you knew he was going to be a good player. And he's getting even better. That guy's going to get paid like $17-18 million a year on his next contract. I'm sorry. It's a silly. No, I don't think they're going to consider. They're going to take the best player. That's what I think they're going to do.
Gotcha.
Sorry,
next up, we're gonna go. No, we're gonna let the rant breathe. We're gonna go to the other side of the seriousness meter.
Oh, great.
So of course, the most serious of questions from David Futter.
This is the other question that I have seen.
You can only eat one thing the rest of your life from this list. What do you choose? 1, chicken cutlets. 2, pizza. 3, orange peel beef. 4, chopped cheese. 5, bacon double cheeseburger. 6, fried chicken. 7, burritos, plural. 8, sushi. 9, baked ziti. 10, steak.
Okay. So this is, I know he thought this was going to be difficult. This is the easiest question because it's pizza. Pizza's the only choice. I would today, if it wasn't going to make me fat, like really, really obese, like unhealthily obese. It's okay if you're a little bit overweight, but like if it wasn't going to like put me in a hospital within a few years, because I would have I already have bad cholesterol, bad cholesterol. I have good cholesterol. I have bad cholesterol. You don't have to worry about any of this shit yet because you're what, 18? There you go. If I didn't have these issues, I would eat pizza every day. Happily. I would happily bypass all other foods at all times to eat pizza every day. It wouldn't be like, me. Yeah, because it's just the best food. Even bad pizza is good. Second would be sushi. And sushi is the only one that would get me to think about my first choice, because I love sushi and there's many different types of sushi, but it loses out to pizza. And I just want to give a quick shout out to chicken cutlets, because chicken cutlets are a big part of my upbringing. They're a big part of my diet now. However, chicken cutlets are more like, they're more like Reggie Bullock, right? They're reliable. They're there for you when you need. They may not always do the trick, but more often than not, they will.
And they need some help. They're not going to make the dish on their own. They need the...
Thank you. You need to dress it up. And if you dress up a chicken cutlet enough, it could seem like a gourmet fucking
meal. It'll be pretty good. It'll be pretty good.
Exactly. Yes. So I want to give a shout out to chicken cutlets, but it's pizza and then sushi. Great question.
I want to say I'd go, because he said bacon double cheeseburger.
Yeah. It's a lot of meat. It's not healthy.
Well, now I'm not picking that one.
And can I just say for a sec? I think, I don't know if you know this. I coached trial ad when I was in law school. Or no, not when I was in law school. I went to some trial ad competitions in law school, I think 2 of which were in Texas. And then I coached trial ad after law school. I went back to Texas a couple times. So I think I've been to Texas 4 times in total. All they have in Texas is meat and cheese. I don't think they allow lettuce past state lines or any vegetables or fruits of any kind. It's just meat and cheese. But like, spend 4 days in Texas and then tell me you ever want to see another double cheeseburger or spare rib or piece of steak or any such thing for as long as you live. You will not. All you're going to want to do after you leave Texas is have a fucking Caesar salad. Just saying.
Now, because you can be diverse with pizza, right?
Oh, yeah.
Pugsley's, there's penne, vodka slices. You can go bacon, chicken ranch. You can go chicken parm.
Fuck that, go to Italy. Their definition, they have stretched the boundaries of the definition of pizza past where anything is reasonable. They have chocolate pizza.
No, and they do here at Pugsley's. They have Nutella. There you go. Right. Pizza's it's a good pick, but I know bacon double cheeseburger is tempting because you could, he made chopped cheese an option. You just give me a bacon double cheeseburger, I'll just chop it up, and then there's your chopped cheese right there. I don't know what the hell the prop.
Oh, I could count the amount of times I've had chopped cheese on one hand in my life. Anyway, okay, let's move on. We should probably answer another basketball question.
We have one basketball question left.
Giddy up.
It's the last one. It's from the Godson. At French the Godson asks, most favorable first round matchup. I thought we'd finish off looking forward, and see what you think.
So,
don't kill yourself trying to be realistic.
No, but so am I basically choosing between the top 3 teams?
I guess. I mean,
if Miami is an option, then I'll pick Miami.
Eastern Conference standings, you have.
Yeah, I mean, is there a world where the Knicks finish 5th and play the Heat in the first round? Then yeah,
the Hawks are in 5th right now.
Okay, great. Then so
if we could get 4 or 5 with Atlanta,
here's my rankings.
They are
literally anyone outside of the Heat, Bucks, Philly, or Nets. I don't care. Give me
76ers.
76ers. Give me any.
We're not beating Embiid. Yeah.
Hold on. Then the Heat. And then after the Heat, so I'm here between Philly, Milwaukee, and and Brooklyn. I would most want to face Milwaukee from a matchup standpoint because I think
we can game plan for Giannis.
I think if you give Tibbs,
and you can't game plan for the tri-fuckery that is those guys.
I don't think any. I mean, I'll just say it now. I don't think any team in the league is beating Brooklyn if Brooklyn's healthy. If Brooklyn's healthy, they're going to win.
I need LeBron to come through.
I don't think it.
I need honestly, LeBron to come through.
I don't think it matters.
Kawhi, someone.
Oh,
Jokic,
the Clippers.
Please,
come on. They're not. The only team that has a chance is the Lakers, and that would let me tell you, if this Brooklyn team is fully healthy, and LeBron somehow leads the
Lakers.
Who's
guarding a Disney? Who's guarding AD?
It's
Bruce Brown.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd love to see him try. AD's overrated because of the LeBron propaganda machine. I'll give you that, but he's not. Kid doesn't stink.
Look, I'm just putting it out there right now. Again, save this for your cold takes exposed. If Brooklyn's fully healthy, I fully expect them to win, and I'd be very surprised if they didn't, even if they face the Lakers in the finals. That's my take. If they're fully healthy. Now, to finish answering the question, I would pick Brooklyn as my preferred matchup over the Sixers because I don't think that there is a prayer in the world that the Knicks could possibly beat Embiid and that Sixer team 4 times in 7 games. I think Embiid is on a mission, and I trust, this is crazy, but it's the truth. I trust Embiid to stay healthy more than I trust Durant and Harden to both stay healthy throughout this entire playoff. So that's why I'd pick Brooklyn as a preferred matchup over the Sixers. And the Sixers would be last. I would least want to face the Sixers.
Beat them. It's tough. The last question.
Else? Oh yeah, I was about to say
the last question.
There's one more question.
I don't know if we're allowed to put on the screen, so I'm going to send it to Andrew, and we'll see. But the question asks if you know who Gunna is, if you listen to Gunna, and if not, if I can inform you about Gunna. Do you know who Gunna is? This is a pop culture Macri test. I see the Googling. I see the Google arms.
I mean, obviously the answer is no. Gunna, American singer. Okay, so it's a boy.
This is good. This is all good.
He was recently involved in some kind of an accident. Apparently, according to he has 1.8 million followers, and he's from Georgia, and he apparently likes to smoke marijuana.
This is content. This is great.
He has an album that came out last May, it looks like. What is this? His first tweet under his pinned tweet is, "I'm sorry, baby, but I can't have sex with you if you don't have a credit card." Oh, he wants the woman to pay for the sex. Oh, okay. Well, this person must be quite the fellow then. Well,
it's too good.
I'm learning about Gunna, who, by the way, his name, interestingly enough, is Wanna on Twitter. Riddle me that, Batman.
You'll have to listen to his song, Wanna. Maybe also his song, Wanna Flow. It's a different song.
They're both okay. Wanna and then Wanna Flow. Okay.
We'll see what you think. I can send over some recommendations.
Well, I mean, as long as he is,
because we spoke about Lil Baby a few months back.
Did we? Okay.
You wrote about him in the newsletter too.
I like that song. Oh, here we go. Wanna. Can I play? It's the end of the pod. Can I play a little bit of the song right now?
Well, Andrew might have to mute it. We'll see.
I think it's probably fine, right? Hold on. This is pleasant. There's another song, That's fun. Okay. Yeah, it's nice. I would listen to that late at night if I'm finishing up like a newsletter. But when I listen to like, usually I just put on like coffee house music when I'm writing. I wouldn't listen to that when I'm running. It's not upbeat enough.
See, it's like a car thing. You think?
I don't listen to music in the car. I listen to podcasts in the car.
I'm a music in the car guy. I like to just let my brain
wait till you get old. Then it'll change. All right, Kris, this was a blast. Anything? Of course you have stuff to plug. You're the ultimate plugger here. Plug some stuff. What do you got going on?
Well, I have the KFS halftime show going on.
That's a big one. And
when the Knicks play basketball games at halftime, if you'd like, I'm always live on Twitter. Sometimes with a guest. I had Schwinn on recently, Jeremy Cohen, another guest. Colin, I have to have Chip on. I have all kinds of fun guests on the halftime show. So stop by live at halftime for just a 15-minute halftime show, the KFS halftime show. You can check me out on Twitter at Kris Pursiainen. My podcast is To a Tolerable Degree. We have an episode coming out soon with the pretty special guest from NBA Twitter, which I'm excited for. The hint is that you're on mute, but the hint is I was going to say
I'm excited for you. Sorry,
the hint is that this guest is addicted to Twitter. There's the hint. So people will get it. I
don't get it.
People will get it.
I hope they will.
The people.
And like Gunna. Well, he's a people. He's a person.
Listen, if Gunna listens to Knicks Film School, there's a lot to.
Is he from New York?
No. Oh, he's from Atlanta. You said.
Oh yeah, that's right.
George. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, that was today's Macri pop culture education. We like to keep John updated.
You know what? Just because they're both waiting, we have a little KFS meeting we're gonna do after this. But this is good podcasting here. Andrew can cut this out if he wants, I guess.
No.
But I'm gonna ask both of them if they know who this person is. I want to see if they know who this person is. Okay.
Oh, it's Jeremy. Hey, Jeremy.
Hello, Jeremy Cohen, and hello, Andrew Claudio's still getting his video up, but we're still recording. I'm about to sign us out here, but important question. Oh my God.
Is Andrew in the car?
I don't know what Andrew's doing.
He's mobile. Oh no, he's in the studio.
An important question before I sign us off of this episode. If I say the word Gunna, does that mean anything to either of you?
Like
Jeremy?
Going to?
Okay. Andrew, does Gunna mean anything to you? You're on mute.
I know the other one, but that my first guess would be to go would gravitate towards.
No, so he knows.
Yeah,
What's
I know.
the other one?
I'm not as old as John. I know.
What is the other one?
See, John didn't know.
Oh, geez. So now I look like an asshole. Okay. Andrew probably doesn't know.
Hear me now.
I love
this. We can hear you. Do you know who Gunna
Everything is funny.
Who Gunna is?
Yeah.
Everything
is funny.
Gunna is like slang for going to.
Thank you. And Andrew, I just want it noted for the record. Andrew is over 30 and Jeremy had just turned 26. So
wait, Gunna's a person?
Yes. He's a musician, apparently.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Oh,
and
he's
you want to wait? Hold on, it gets better. It gets better.
He's not.
Do you want to know what his song title is?
What is it?
Wanna.
You're kidding.
I'm not fucking around with you.
This is the generation that
I'm telling you,
us.
Andrew, I'm telling you right now, pick your favorite childhood artist. He has triple their streams monthly.
My childhood artists didn't know what streams were. You know what streams meant to them? What the fucking streams were in the Ghostbusters movie, which you probably never saw because you're 12.
I haven't seen it.
I
haven't seen the movie.
No.
Oh God! You probably saw the God. Oh, actually, it wasn't that bad. But
I haven't seen the new one either.
All right. On that note, everybody,
mailbag.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Knicks Film School Podcast. We will be back with you. Me and Jeremy will be back with you. Another episode dropping on Monday, hopefully after the Knicks win a couple games this weekend. We will talk to you then. Adios.
We're gonna see you on Monday.